Winter Games. It is the second run of the women's vision impaired standing and sitting slalom. Well, the athletes go in reverse order of their finishing in the first run. So the slowest skier goes first, the quickest goes last, and then we will find out where the last gold medals in the women's Paralpine schedule will be heading. This the last day for the women up on the Hai Tuo Mountain at the Beijing 2022 Paralympic Winter Games. Vision impaired category getting us underway, and Linda Le Bon will be the first out of the start hut with her daughter Gillotte, her guide. And a lovely day if you're sat in the stands watching. Not such a lovely day if you're sat at the top of the piece waiting to ski, because the temperature over 5 degrees centigrade and a little bit of breeze as well, and the snow is going to come under some punishment, or up for some punishment in this second leg. The women's slalom vision impaired second run at the Paralpine skiing at the Beijing 2022 Paralympic Winter Games. Coaches and support staff and supporters gathered at the bottom of the track as we look at the start list for the vision impaired race. 13 athletes. Linda Le Bon gets us underway. Menna Fitzpatrick of Great Britain is the defending Paralympic and current world champion, but she was only 5th quickest after the first run and has quite a bit of time to make up on our leader, who is Veronika Eigner of Austria. Fitzpatrick 3.13 seconds slower than Veronika Eigner and her sister Elizabeth, who is her guide on the first run. Eigner looking for back-to-back gold medals in the technical disciplines.
Just a quick update on the course conditions. As per the first run, the course workers have put on a lot of salt. There's warm temperatures, a lot of moisture in the air, so hopefully the salt is working and bonding that snowpack together, because we saw some nasty holes develop in the middle section of this course earlier today. Let's hope this closing run, the second run of the women's slalom visually impaired, doesn't go the same way. We're looking for fair conditions from start to finish for each and every one of our competitors.
Nervous moments for Linda Le Bon of Belgium as she gets ready to get this race underway. Last minute chat between mother and daughter before they propel themselves down this ice river track. 180 meters vertical drop. They're starting at 1,600 meters, 1,680. Finish area at 1,500. And the pattern of gates set by Lasse Eriksson, the Swedish coach. 51 gates, 50 turning gates to that double gate on the left ski turn into the finishing pitch. And the wanders across, and we're about to get underway. Linda Le Bon of Belgium and her guide Ulla Gillotte get this women's vision impaired slalom second run underway. Le Bon 13th quickest after run 1. Will look to try and put pressure on those that remain at the top in run 2.
Guide, just to keep this first few turns settled, we can see a very solid, smooth snowpack, so a good opportunity for the Belgian pair to build the momentum in these early turns.
Le just running a little late on that right-footed ski. Lasse Eriksson of Sweden setting this alternate pattern of red and blue gates, and Le Bon into the pattern as she hits the second steep pitch.
Another couple of combinations here, a hairpin into a pretty wide series of 4 or 5 open gates.
And here is the finishing pitch. Over to skiers left on run 2.
Real right leg dominant section of the course. Is quite a traverse as the course setter has brought us from the left over to the right.
And Le Bon is across the line and sets the time at 1:50.1. Good skiing from Linda Le Bon of Belgium.
Quick look back here shows us the Belgian athletes really going for it in the second run. They had a lot of time to make up, but not necessarily about chasing down medal positions for every single athlete in this competition. Only 3 medals obviously to be had in every category, so being part of this whole thing, a very big achievement in itself.
Sara Choi of Korea and her guide Kim Yoo-seong underway in the second run of the women's slalom vision impaired, and Choi, we're just over 3/4 of a second in hand over Linda Le Bon, our current leader from run 1. And Choi setting off at a good pace. And once again, as we've seen throughout, her guide Kim getting a little bit far in front, but just checks himself.
Yeah, distance management is one of the key elements of the skill of guiding a visually impaired skier. You must stay close enough to the athlete to ensure they have as much of a visual cue as they possibly can. The main cues coming through the radio headsets between the guide and the athlete. Here they come on to the final pitch.
And the green light has increased to nearly a second, and this is good confidence skiing from young Sara Choi, just 18 years of age, in her first Paralympic Winter Games. And she will go into provisional gold, 0.73 quicker than Le Bon.
Yeah, the youngster doing a good job on the top there. Bit of pole plant action might have helped the execution get a bit more pressure over that outside ski, but all in all, a solid run from the youngster. Great experience for the future.
Bib number 13 is Noemi Eva Risto and her guide Paula Elia Brenzel. The advantage from the first run over Sara Choi, our current leader, is a 3.64.
Well, a much more aggressive, punchier run from the German pair. I know they weren't happy with their time in the first run, and that's a little more like it at the top splits.
Really solid skiing as they get nearly 2 seconds on the opening turns. Not a long track, so that is really impressive stuff from Risto.
Very much the sprint discipline is slalom, and today especially it's a very short course compared to, say, World Cup or World Championship standards, but it just means there's very little room for them to make up time. They have to take every chance they can.
Risto getting the pole out of the way with that right hand, clattering the gates. Good work from Risto. Now,
a little bit late here, but the line's not far.
1:49.37. Oh, she's done enough comfortably. Over 7 seconds, the right side of the clock for Noemi Eva Risto of Germany.
Yeah, the Germans happy with their efforts there in the finish line. Looking back up at our slow-mo pictures, yeah, more aggression, more power, more pressure on the skis from Noemi Risto in the second run. Perhaps just left her challenge a little bit too late, though.
Bib number 12 is Melissa Perrin of Australia and her guide Bobby Kelly. 4th Paralympic Winter Games, and Kelly almost making a hash of the start, but they're away this time with 0.73 in the bank from run 1 over our leader Risto of Germany.
That anxious start translates to a very punchy top section. Look at the energy. Oh, the pair of them are putting in, but Mel straddles the red gate, the entry to the hairpin. Just, 3 gates before the early split time. I'm sure they would have grown the advantage. We would have seen a big, big green light. Melperine gives us a wave, and she's up on her feet, so hopefully she's okay, but that's really not, that wasn't on the game plan.
Yeah, real disappointment as she catches the left ski on the red gate and is out of the vision impaired slalom.
Open turns leading here into the second hairpin. She just goes in a tiny bit too straight. The left ski runs the wrong side of the top red pole. Her race is over very rapidly.
Millie Knight of Great Britain and her guide Brett Wild on track, 1.34 seconds quicker than Noemi Evaristo of Germany, our current leader after the first run. And Knight and Wild into the rhythm of this pattern.
Let's go, says Brett Knight. Good advice, good connection, good guiding, good skiing by Knight as she comes past the first split time.
Deficit still green, but now just over a second.
Not quite so quick from foot to foot by my judgment through here. She does have a lot in hand though, so she just needs to dig deep and keep it going. She's coming to the main pitch now. Needs to try to find some speed on these closing gates.
It's dropped now to just over 2/3 of a second. Brett Wild encouraging Millie Knight all the way down this final pitch, but is it enough? 1:42.34, yes it is. She skis it well to take the lead and find 0.2 of a second. Good finishing turns from Millie Knight.
Slow-mo pics showing solid slalom skiing by Knight. Good pole plant action, driving forward and through the turn. Brett Wild calling load and roll, load and roll. Good guiding, good skiing by the pair of them.
Zhu Da King and her guide Yan Han Han with 0.31 of a second over our current leader Millie Knight. That advantage coming from run one.
Another pair who we saw not manage the distance particularly well earlier on, and I think the coaches maybe had a quick word about this because so far Chinese pairing haven't really put a foot wrong. Quick early turns, but they seem to have backed off the pace ever so slightly here.
They've lost a little bit of that advantage. It's just under 1/4 of a second, and then the error from Zhu just got the weight all wrong, and there was no way back for her. And Zhu Da King, a nervous moment for her, but she's on her feet, but she's out.
Oh, that's disappointing, obviously. And just, again, slalom punishes the very smallest of errors in, well, just in a heartbeat. She only got her weight back just for a fraction of a second, but it was too much ultimately in the end.
Chiara Mazzal and Fabrizio Casal, her guide, out on track, looking to try and chase down Millie Knight of Great Britain. She's got nearly a second in hand on Knight from the first run. And again, real close contact between the Italian pair.
Yeah, an amazing connection, these two. They grow their advantage to 1.76 and keeping it nice and calm here. Solid skiing. They're not trying to be too ambitious, just letting the legs and letting the skis do the main part of the work while maintaining that connection over the audio headset. It's not a radio headset this pair use. And very close skiing. They don't want to get any closer than they are right now, though, I have to say.
Well, they extended the lead, though, by a lot to over 2 seconds. Casal and Mazzal in tandem, in unison, are skiing really nicely down this finishing pitch. This is the tricky vertical section which she's done, and across the line, great skiing from Mazzal as she goes into top spot by 1.87 seconds.
Well, this pair, they make me hold my breath watching them. They're so close together. Look at that, 30, 40 centimeters at the most between the tips of the athlete's skis and her guy just ahead of her. Great work from the pair of them, though, I have to say.
into the fastest 6 from run 1. And 6th quickest was this lady here. Elina Stari of Austria, the 15-year-old in her first Paralympic Winter Games, on track with Celine Arthofer, her guide, a silver medalist at the World Championships back in January. Can she find a second run charge to barge onto the podium? Advantage extended to just under a second.
I'm just listening to the communication here between guide and skier, calling the rhythm. It's like a metronome ticking along there to keep that pendulum swinging from side to side. Very good work. They're not quite as quick from foot to foot through this part, though.
And as a result, the green light drops to just under 6/10, and Stari in the back seat, but gets it back in the flash.
Yeah, good recovery. She needs to make sure she drives her knee forward as she comes around these turns, particularly this red gate. Safely home, I think.
Lovely work through the verticale, and as a result, picks up a lot of time on that final pitch to lead by 1.76 seconds.
Real good work there from Stari. A talent for the future. I would suggest she leads the way at the moment, but I think we're going to see a lot from her in future years as well.
The defending Paralympic champion, the reigning world champion in women's slalom vision impaired, Menna Fitzpatrick from Great Britain, on track with her guide Gary Smith. And Fitzpatrick has to lay it all on the line here if she wants to defend her title.
Real punchy top section from the British pair. Call and response from the guide and the athlete calling back saying, yeah, I'm ready to go. Keep it moving, keep going forward. Good top section.
Yeah, and they extend their advantage as well through those opening turns.
Next split time not far away. The distance growing here a little. Gary has to be a bit careful. He doesn't leave Menna any further behind. They're back together as the turns flatten out.
And here is that second split, and it's 1.39. They continue to really push it on this second run, as they had to.
Great. Really good, strong skiing. If she's to have any chance of getting towards the podium, she needs to ski like this all the way to the line.
1:37.84, and she's in by over a second. Fitzpatrick goes top of the pile for the time being, and now it's a waiting game with 4 to come.
Look close in at the skis and the legwork of Fitzpatrick. Good, strong, aggressive skiing, quick moves from foot to foot, put her in command for the moment.
Henrietta Farkasova of Slovakia and her guide Martin Motika on track. Their advantage over Fitzpatrick, our current leader, half a second from the first run. An 11-time Paralympic champion, a 17-time world champion. Farkasova is the real deal when it comes to vision impaired skiing.
Yeah, and you can see that experience and previous success paying dividends on the top. She's a little bit in the middle and tail of the ski, just through the middle part here, but the top few gates really were punchy.
This split time could be interesting because there have been a few little mistakes, a few heavy edges, and 1:20.71. It's down to 1800s.
A little bit of anxiety creeping into the performance from the pair of them, I think. Henrietta Farkasova gets the skis a little more sideways than I think she can afford. Guide slows down a little to let her catch up.
Oh, there's a mistake, 1:36.76, and she's outside by 0.24. Errors on the bottom, costing Farkasova.
Safely home. I think she'll be happy with that. It's been a bit up and down her games, a number of DNFs. She made certain, took the risks, I have to say. You see a couple of mistakes sneaking in here, caught by our slow motion cameras. One right, just 3 gates from home. Safely over though. Provisional second for now.
Alexandra Rexova and her guide Eva Trachikova from Slovakia on course. 0.87 seconds of a second. Her advantage over Menna Fitzpatrick, our current leader on the second run of the women's slalom vision impaired.
Now, Farkasova, her teammate, a B3 skier. Rexova on screen with 80.90 factor time. Percentage factor time as a B2, so it's a little bit difficult to compare pace across the snow from one category to another, but I'm seeing some small mistakes sneaking in. The youngster looking a little tired, I would suggest, as she comes towards the second split.
Rexova, just 16 years of age, finds a little bit of time in that middle section, looking to try and take the gold away from Fitzpatrick. And if she can do so, she'll guarantee herself a medal because there's only 2 remaining at the top of the hill. Rexova through the verticale, 1:36.76, the time of Fitzpatrick, our leader. And she's in, Rexova by 0.45. She's on the podium.
I don't know if she's shocked, surprised, but certainly delighted now that it sinks in that she leads the way. Look back at her skis as she pushes strongly, firmly out of the start gate. Lower down, there's 1 or 2 of those small mistakes we called while she was on the way, but I doubt anybody's going to ski an absolutely perfect run today.
Barbara Eigner and her guide Clara Sikora out on track, and the Austrian pairing looking to try and overtake Alexandra Rexova of Slovakia, who leads the way currently. A healthy advantage of 1.27 seconds, and that grows to 2.08 as Eigner, the 16-year-old, goes to work.
Yeah, performance showing maturity beyond those fairly tender years. I would suggest a lot of pressure on this young lady's shoulders coming in here, knowing that she can medal. They're skiing solidly, they're skiing quickly, but it's pretty much risk managed and error-free as far as I can tell.
2.21 now, the right side of the clock, trying to lay the pressure down to the fastest skier from the first run, who is older sister Veronica. And Barbara Eigner through the last verticale section, looking to get the better of Rexova, which she does do, and sets a time of 1:33.24.
Yeah, an incredibly well-measured run. That's very impressive stuff in terms of their tactical approach. They knew what they had in the bank in terms of the time advantage from the first run. And look at this. It looks, I wouldn't say like a training run, but she's skiing with something in reserve there, just making certain that she's going to make it solidly to the finish. Very strong, very good tactical skiing by the Austrians.
Veronica Eigner and her sister Elizabeth Eigner on track, looking to get the better of younger sister Barbara Eigner, who currently leads the way in the women's slalom vision impaired, and Veronica Eigner has an advantage of nearly 1 second from the first run and extends that now to just under 1 1/4.
You know, it's almost like watching a clone version of the younger pair who we just saw a moment ago. Veronica Eigner just, again, has things measured, and she and her guide Elizabeth, have a synchronicity between them that just seems them to allow to sneak further and further ahead of the field without even really trying too hard. Solid again on the final pitch, one combination to take in, and then they have to go for the line.
1:33.24, the time of Barbara Eigner, and Veronica Eigner has taken it away and goes into the gold medal position. She's the Paralympic champion of Beijing 2022 in slalom vision impaired. And it is double gold in the technical disciplines for Veronika Aigner and Elisabeth Aigner.
Great skiing. Using every part of her skill set to drive those skis around the gate, punches those spring-loaded poles out of the way, dips for the line. Paralympic gold is the reward.
The family fair once again, taking half of the medals. 6 medals given out, 3 of them going to the Aigner household. And some brilliant skiing from them. And rounding off the podium is Alexandra Rexova of Slovakia. So confirmation then of the women's slalom vision impaired race. Veronika Aigner of Austria wins it from Barbara Aigner, her younger sister, with Alexandra Rexova of Slovakia the bronze. And what a podium. 18-year-old in gold, a 16-year-old in silver, and a 15-year-old in bronze. So the recognition ceremony for the women's slalom vision impaired. And a remarkable race to bring down the curtain on the women's vision impaired skiing at the Beijing 2022 Paralympic Winter Games. Led out by Alexandra Rexova of Slovakia. And Rexova, her second medal of these Paralympic Winter Games, to go with the silver in Super G. Barbara Aigner of Austria upgrades her bronze in giant slalom to silver in slalom. Veronika Aigner and Elisabeth Aigner do the tech double at Beijing 2022, taking the women's slalom vision impaired gold to go with the women's giant slalom vision impaired gold they won 24 hours ago. A magnificent ski from Veronika Aigner and her older sister Elisabeth. And another day that the Aigner family will enjoy. The women's slalom standing second run to decide the penultimate gold medal in the women's para-alpine schedule for these Beijing 2022 Paralympic Winter Games. And there are 13 racers at the top of the hill. Marie Bochet is the defending Paralympic champion, while the current world champion, Ebba Arsho, was the quickest from the first run. She'll be 13th out the start hut. She wears bib number 20. The athletes going in the reverse finishing order from run 1. So Claudia Hernandez of Chile waits to get this second run underway in warm conditions on the High Tuo Mountain. The penultimate day of action in these Beijing 2022 Paralympic Winter Games. Claudia Hernandez out of the start hut, bib number 34. 29 years of age in her first Paralympic Winter Games. The only female Paralympian from Chile here. And not only that, the only LW2 skier in this race.
Yeah, good point. I think we mentioned this earlier. The LW2s have their work doubly cut out today. Challenging stuff on this chemically treated course. You can hear the skis scraping across a very aggressive surface, rough, aggressive, granular snow, making it difficult for the ski to get good grip. So Hernandez needs to just make certain, needs to keep things accurate down here, needs to maintain contact with the front of her single ski boot, help maintain pressure over the front of the ski and allow it to sweep around above the gate, cut underneath and switch the weight across. Do it all again on the other side. She's past the second checkpoint, so just over halfway, but the most difficult turns are still to come.
And you can see the rut just forming on the inside of that blue gate, which she goes through now, but successfully through that. And these are difficult, well-taken turns from Hernandez.
Of course, straightens up just a couple of gates from now, but there's a bit of a sting in the tail coming out of this vertical combination here. The red gate on the bottom of the screen swings a long way back across to the skier's right. She negotiates that very solidly, though.
And stops the clock at 3:34.87. Well done, Claudia Hernandez of Chile. She finishes the women's slalom standing. Profile of Ilma Kacic from Bosnia-Herzegovina, and she waits to put down her second run.
Ready, go.
Ilma Kacic of Bosnia-Herzegovina on track, bib number 35, and Kacic just 23 years of age.
Yeah, another one of our athletes who you could say at the back of the pack in this second run, but deserve our respect for their efforts here. Ilma, as her condition, she skis us on LW3. She's got quite a generous factor. You can see there in the bottom right of the screen, 87.62. She's got so little physical strength. Again, it means she's a skier that can ill afford any technical mistakes because she has very little chance of recovering from them. And this course, once again, I have to say, the sting is right in the tail. 3-4 gates from home are the trickiest turns. It's hard work all the way down, but as the course steepens and the pace gets faster and faster, just within sight of the line, but that was a concentration error from the young lady from Bosnia-Herzegovina, and that's a shame. Her race is run. Just coming onto that final pitch, she misjudged the direction she required for the next left foot turn. That was it, just got caught just on the tails. Down she goes very rapidly. Let's hope she's okay. She's lying there probably winded, and get her a bit of assistance.
Crossworker comes across now with the 23-year-old who is in her third Paralympic Winter Games. Can you believe? The only athlete, a female athlete from Bosnia-Herzegovina here, is out of the second run. Disappointment for Kacic.
The good news is we're running what we call full intervals here. We're not starting another skier until the prior skier has made it safely across the finish line. So no danger from a following racer, as there might be in some of the other busier categories. Good to see Kacic on her feet. She should make it safely to the bottom from there, and we'll be getting things back underway here as we have a quick look at the start area. We should be getting things underway again in just a few short moments.
The next athlete to challenge will be Wang Qingyun. And just a little bit of a wait for her. And Katic makes her way into the finish area. And we'll be able to get the race back underway.
Come on, Mimi, eh? Come on, stay up, eh? Ready, go.
Wang Qingyun of the People's Republic of China on track. And Wang will look to try and lay down a solid second run. And will be her last appearance at her home Paralympic Winter Games.
Now Wang with a factor time reflecting real time, so the clock running at natural pace. Every second you see ticking by on the clock is a real second. That's indicated by the 100% mark beside it. She's a 6'8", unilateral, one-sided upper body impairment, so her legs need to carry her home strongly from here. A couple of mistakes sneaking in, drifting sideways, maybe fatigue beginning to tell now in these closing stages of the competitions.
Good work from Wang though. She will be in front because she crosses the line 2:07.39. And she goes top of the leaderboard with 10 to come from the first run.
Quick look higher up here. Yeah, one or two of these turns just look to me as if she's starting to run out of energy. It's been a long, demanding few days on the competition hill for each and every one of our Paralympic alpine skiers. That's been for sure.
Bib number 33 is Vanessa Gaskova of Slovakia, 2.27 seconds. Her advantage after run 1 on Wang of China, our current leader. And Gaskova is just 16 years of age, competing in her first major tournament. Still has the green light by just under 1.3 seconds.
Now Vanessa Gaskova, part of a very strong Slovakian program. Not the largest nation in the world of alpine skiing or para-alpine skiing, but certainly one of the most successful. And her peer group really full of talent.
0.77 still the green light as she comes to this testing final section of gates.
Yeah, you can see her pressing really hard to get grip on the outside ski.
There's the verticale, 2:07.39. And Gaskova is down and into provisional gold. Good skiing from Gaskova. Well, that will lift the spirit to have the welcoming committee in the finishing area.
Yes, I was saying she's in pretty good company. A lot of skills and a lot of medal winners in the Slovakian team. Yeah, she's in very good company down there.
Ray Anderson of Australia, who has just under 2 seconds on the green lights after the first run on Vanessa Gaskova, our current leader. And Anderson, 25 years of age in her first Paralympic Winter Games, is doing a good solid job on these top turns and gets the reward with an extension of the green light. Oh, and then gets caught in the back seat, but not out of the track, but very late in the line.
Yeah, this middle section of the hill is really deceptive. Our camera angles don't really present the steepness as such as it really is. It's very steep where she is just now. It flattens off a little here, but those sections up above, again, you have to be certain of where you set the edge, certain of the direction.
Well, Anderson May have had some mistakes, but she's still got an increased green light at the second split because she's managing to keep the pace there.
Yeah, the factoring of the time, doing exactly what it should, leveling things out a little across the field.
Nicely done through the verticale from Anderson, and she has a big lead over Gaskova, up to 6.38. Good skiing from the Australian.
Gasping for breath, still manages a smile though in the finish area. She's given it her all. That was the mistake up on the top. She just got a little bit in the back seat on her right side. Caught her out, gave her a bit of a wake up. She made certain on each and every one of the following runs, though, turns rather.
Kamiyama Noriko of Japan, with bib number 21, has an advantage of just under a quarter of a second from the first run over Ray Anderson of Australia, who currently sits in gold medal position in this women's slalom standing race. And Kamiyama, making her Paralympic debut at the age of 49, sees the green light turn red.
Yeah, perhaps giving these upper turns a little more respect than she'll want to have done when she maybe has a look back, not really getting the upper body closer, even inside the turning pole, allowing the feet to travel. Doesn't make much difference, but when you've got a fairly large number of gates each and every turn, each and every risk must be taken.
The red line now, just under 2.5 seconds, so Kamiyama Noriko might lose a place on the hill, but she is going to get to the bottom of this with 4 gates to go. Kamiyama is home, and home in provisional second, 2.47 off the pace. Bib number 30, next athlete out of the start hut. Hondo Ami of Japan with bib 30, was the 7th quickest after the first run in this women's slalom standing race, and her advantage from that first run over our current leader Ray Anderson of Australia, 3.5 seconds. But Hondo Ami is really attacking this second set of gates, but loses just a little bit of time as she gets pushed into the back seat, but then drives herself forward to retain control.
Yeah, good recoveries. She can't afford too many of those, because even though she made that recovery very rapidly indeed, these small mistakes do add up. These are better turns as she comes to the second split.
2.41 now, the advantage. So all the while, it's getting a little less, but still has plenty in the bank maybe, and there's another mistake. Quick feet keeps her upright, and she leads by just over 3 seconds. That was an incident-filled run.
Yeah, and a very close run thing just within sight of the finish line coming into the hairpin. I thought it was good. I thought skis were going to get away from her. Up top, this is where that first fairly small but nonetheless costly mistake came in. Right here, though, we're seeing some pretty decent turns from Hondo Ami. That's the mistake, excuse me, just before one of the early hairpin turns, the skis breaking away sideways.
Lucia Smetisko of Croatia, who has an advantage of over 4.5 seconds over Hondo Ami, our current leader from the first run. Now, Smetisko gets the rhythm going in the second pattern against the 17-year-old who was 9th in the World Championship Slalom in January of this year.
I have to say the Croatian skiers will be no stranger to skiing on chemically treated snow. Their home hill of Slalom, just above the Croatian capital Zagreb. They have very warm temperatures there, so I think we're seeing a familiarity here with the difficult underfoot conditions by Smetsko. Oh, there's a mistake though. That will have cost her. She was doing very well up until that point.
Smetsko then into the verticale, and how much has that cost her? She's going to take the lead away from Hondo by 7.68 seconds. It's a big lead, but it was almost a perfect run, apart from that small mistake on the finishing pitch.
Yeah, she'll be a little disappointed with that, but the rest of the run pretty flawless, I would say. We're getting close now to the medal zone. She knew she had to really try to make it super clean, super quick. Now she has a long wait to see if she gets lucky. Watches for errors coming from the following skiers.
Current standings at the moment in this women's slalom standing race. Michaela Goslin of Canada, the next to go. Her advantage over our current leader is 1.81 from the first run. That's Smetsko of Croatia, who's currently in gold medal position. And Goslin, third in the World Championships, extends the advantage to 2.5 seconds.
Strong and smooth top turns from Goslin. Nice and early here, but doesn't quite stay on top of it in that hairpin. That 2 vertical gates set straight down the fall line. There was a bit more time to be had there, but she didn't find the advantage.
2.4, her green light over Smetsko of Croatia.
Keeping it clean here on the closing turns down this final pitch.
Good turns from Goslin to round it off, and she goes into top spot. 1:46.87, the next best time. Oh, she has left it out there.
Not much left in the legs in the finish. You can see why, you know, if you watch the skis closely, they're bumping and chattering around. Hard to stay on top of the action. 3 or 4 goes for the ski to take a bite to make every turn. Adjustments and recoveries having to be made in more or less every single gate.
Marie Boucher of France, the defending Paralympic champion, is on track and is going to have to... Oh no, she's out. That's a real disappointment for Boucher, who hasn't had the best of meets in Beijing, and her 2022 Paralympic Winter Games comes to a premature end as she gets caught on the inside.
Oh my, that really was not how Marie Boucher was planning to sign off her 2022 Games experience. What a disappointment for the very experienced, very competitive French woman.
Anna Maria Rieder of Germany now on track. And Rieder, you could hear some shouts on the course to alert the course workers that an athlete was coming down. And Rieder trying to chase down Goslin of Canada. She's got, what, 2.6 and a bit seconds. And she's extended to 3.52.
She has to make certain of the switch from foot to foot. She can't allow herself another mistake like we saw in the hairpin a moment ago. The weight getting ever so slightly back from the center of the ski.
4.8 now, the right side of the clock. Has to be certain. And is now the verticale to come. Nicely done, 1:46.87 Goslin's time, and inside comfortably. Rieder, good skiing. She goes into provisional gold, and with only 2 remaining at the top of the hill, she's got a medal.
Let's have a quick look back at the young German skiing. Anna Maria Rieder doing a good job, doing plenty up in this middle part. 1 or 2 small errors as we spotted. There's another one there, but makes the recovery. And that was on to her less strong side, so a lot of determination playing its part in bringing her home and bringing her home into the lead for the moment.
Zhang Mengyu from the People's Republic of China has a 1.2 second lead from the first run in this women's slalom standing over Anna-Maria Rieder of Germany, who currently leads. Now, Zhang, who's had an excellent competition in Beijing, looking for yet another medal.
She was doing a good job of releasing the edge. She's steering very strongly in the early and middle part of the turn, but also managing to release the edge. We saw one small mistake. We've got another checkpoint to see what damage that has done. Another small check there to keep her online, but otherwise pretty good.
2.31 now, the lead for Zhang, who's looking for a 5th medal in 5 races here in Beijing.
Legs are looking just a little battle weary, I would say. Here comes the line though.
And she's home and she gets herself another medal. She's into top spot for the time being. 3.1 quicker than Rieder of Germany.
Whoa, close run thing there. A recovery, but it was very close to being right out of the course. So Zhang measuring this well, start to finish, and well, into the medal zone, no doubt about that.
Ebba Arsho of Sweden, the world champion from Lillehammer in 2022 and leader after the first run, has 2.78 seconds in the bank over our current leader, Zhang Mengyu. And Arsho, well, on full-out attack, extends it to 3.91, but she's just got to make sure of this.
Yeah, she needs to understand that she has enough in the bank and then some on top of that, but, well...
That was very, very close.
Yeah, she's just on the absolute limit. Look at the gap, though.
It's up to 5 seconds, and it's about race management from here for Arsho as she then gets pushed into the backseat once more.
Reaches forward with those ski poles to get her out of trouble. This is a strong finish.
1:37.4, and she is the Paralympic Winter Games champion. She adds the gold medal to the World Championship in Lillehammer of this year. And Ebba Arsho picks up her 2nd gold of Beijing 2022.
Spectacular stuff from our Swedish Paralympic slalom champion here. What a run by Ebba Arsho to close this one out for her. Almost flawless technique, and the tactics, well, they were risky, but ultimately she gets the reward from that. It's gold medal to Sweden.
Congratulations in the stands, Arsho with a really strong run. Confirmation of the women's slalom standing results, and Ebba Arsho of Sweden is the Paralympic Winter Games standing champion. Zhang Mengyu of China picking up her 5th medal, of the Para-Alpine program, and Anna-Maria Rieder of Germany rounds off the podium in 3rd. So the recognition ceremony for the women's slalom standing race. A little time to turn around for the medalists, who were the quickest 3 after the first run, and they finish in the same order that they finished the first run in the 2nd. And big smiles for Anna-Maria Rieder of Germany, who was 3rd in the World Championship slalom in 2017, but now is on a Paralympic Winter Games podium. And Anna-Maria Rieder of Germany wins the bronze medal in the women's slalom standing.
Medalist representing People's Republic of China.
获得银牌的是中国运动员张梦秋。
Zhang Mengyu from the People's Republic of China, a 5th medal for her at Beijing 2022.
Champion representing Sweden.
获得金牌和残奥冠军的是瑞典运动员
Eva Asjo.
And Ebba Arsho of Sweden wins her 2nd gold medal. This time it's in women's slalom standing.
For the Beijing 2022 Paralympic Winter Games medalists.
女士们、先生们，请向北京2022年冬残奥会获奖运动员表示热烈的祝贺。
The final race of the women's Alpine schedule at Beijing 2022 is the women's slalom sitting, the 2nd run to decide where the gold medal will go. Let's have a look at the start list. Just 9 competitors from 5 NPCs at the top of the hill, and the defending Paralympic champion is bib number 39, Annalena Forster, who is also the reigning world champion. Muroka Momoka, number 38, was a silver medalist in 2018, and it will be a fascinating contest to see which way the gold medal goes here. The 9 competitors will go in reverse order from their finishing order in the first run. So Shona Brownlee, who was 9th quickest in the first run, will be 1st in the second run, and Forster, who was quickest, will be 9th out of the start hut. And the question is, can anybody reel in the German, who has nearly 1.5 seconds over Liu, who was the 2nd quickest? And a pause in proceedings while the course crew just get to work on the track. Some ruts appear in the course. It's Katie Combeluzier of Canada. And they're just trying to make the conditions as easy as possible for these sit skiers. Holes and ruts don't really mix particularly well with the rigs.
No, and really consistency is what the athletes are looking for from the course workers down here in terms of the preparation of the snow surface, and some chemicals being applied in the middle part of the course just to try to hold it together. But it looks like we're almost ready to get back underway here with the women's sitting category.
Plenty of communication. Up the hill, you can see the wind starting to buffet the netting on the right-hand side, but the wanders across. Shona Brownlee of Great Britain will get the women's slalom sitting race underway, the 2nd of the 2 runs to decide where the gold medal will go. And Brownlee, in her first Paralympic Winter Games, goes to work on this 2nd pattern of gait set by the Swedish coach Lasse Eriksson. And Brownlee with some good opening turns.
Yeah, I know Shona needs to bring this one home in terms of building her personal confidence and confidence in her abilities as a sit skier. She's pretty early on in her sit ski career, so to see her performing at this level really is a mark of her achievements. And I know she's setting her sights on the next games, but right now a number of tricky turns will be filling her concentration space right at this moment. Coming to the 2nd split, and as we know, the terrain begins to steepen from here, so she needs to just keep this good turn shape that she's got, good space above the gate, sweep the ski around, cut it underneath the pole, then same thing again on the other side. Can't afford to lose any height in the line here because there is a bit of a bias on the hill, and that makes things a little extra tricky for our sit skiers.
Brownlee doing an excellent job. Can be a steep learning curve, the Paralympic Winter Games. Unlike any other event, these athletes will ski, and you learn from one to the other, and Brownlee is down and sets the time. This is bib number 40, Tanaka Yoshiko, who just has to wait for the one to come across before she can go. Warm conditions on the High Tro Mountain on day 8 of these Paralympic Winter Games. Tanaka Yoshiko of Japan on track, the 46-year-old who's in her 4th Paralympic Winter Games. Made her debut all the way back in 2006 in Torino. Missed out in 2018, but back on the mountain for the 2022 Beijing Paralympic Winter Games. And a big advantage over Brownlee at the first split.
We're looking at skiers who aren't really challenging for the medal zone, so looking for me at good technical execution of what I'm seeing from Tanaka. A number of gates she's managed to contact where it gets a little bit steeper and the gates turn wider to help the athletes control their speed. She's not able to get in real close. Here's a flatter section coming up for her. Maybe she can get real close to 1 or 2 of these as she did up on the top. I would say from here, though, she too just has to keep things steady because look how steep it is. And as you see the rig coming around just that fraction of a second when the ski is on the fall line, she picks up a lot of pace, and that's the challenge of this Alpine skier all in all, but particularly in slalom. It's managing that accelerative force and trying to deflect the momentum from side to side.
And Tanaka down 2:15.93. Goes into the lead with 7 to come from the first run. Japan in the start hut once again. This is Harada Norika. Harada Norika of Japan is next out of the start hut, bib number 43, 39 years of age in her first Paralympic Winter Games. She has an advantage of just under half a second on Tanaka, who's our leader. That advantage coming from the first run, which was raced earlier on day 8. The green light now red as she gives these top turns some respect and goes a little wide in the line.
Yeah, I don't really understand why she's skiing a much more conservative approach. All in all, you know, the technical and tactical execution seems to have been backed off a little in the second run. Maybe just the nervous apprehension of possibly falling or not completing the run getting to her pre-race, but it's not as aggressive and not as quick as it was earlier today. Better turns coming to the second split, but the gap is growing.
Yeah, 1.56 now, but the challenge perhaps she set herself is to get to the bottom of her first Paralympic Winter Games sitting slalom race.
Good point. Very strong slalom program for the Japanese sit skiers in both men's and women's division. And barring some sort of problem in this verticale, she should be home safe from here.
Yeah, gets the ski sideways to check the speed, and she is home. And Harada will have a finish in the sitting slalom, the Beijing 2022 Paralympic Winter Games.
Real good close look at Harada's rig there. Suspension system working well, the nose of the rig nodding there as the bumps and ripples are absorbed by the suspension.
Katie Combeluzier of Canada, next out of the start hut, has just over a second in hand on Tanaka of Japan, our current leader in this second run. And Combeluzier, in her first Paralympic Winter Games, will look to try and get in front of Tanaka if she can. But difficult with these close gates together. The rig Not the most mobile of pieces of kit, but Combaluzier still has the green light.
Slalom second run for the sit skiers. It's always about measuring the risk, really, because almost in every single slalom you'll watch, the course conditions deteriorate rapidly. The sit skiers traditionally go last of the pack, following the visually impaired skiers and the standing skiers, so they have the worst of the ruts to deal with. So just a little extra caution sometimes required.
Skis the middle section though well, because she finds nearly half a second to put the green light at 0.98. It's steady, it's solid, but it's consistent. The turns are consistent.
Sweeping wide in these closing turns. A couple of quick sets from edge to edge through the verticale, and now a straight run for the line.
2:15.93, but she just gives the finishing pitch a little bit too much respect, and is 0.45 the wrong side of the clock from her perspective.
Quick look here at Combaluzier's run, just coming on the transition and onto the early part of the seep. Some of the wider turns where some of that time slipped away from her.
Back at the top, it's bib number 38, Muroka Momoka of Japan, who was fourth quickest after the first run. Muroka has been on exceptional form on the High Tro Mountain in previous race days. 3 gold medals and 1 silver from her previous 4 races. Looking for a 5th and extending the lead to 21 seconds.
Yeah, she may be quite a bit younger than her teammates, but certainly experienced at the top level of competition. And I think that's a big part of what's allowing her to take a much riskier line and a much faster line as a consequence than we've seen from anybody so far in this women's sitting second run of the slalom.
Up to 26 seconds now for Muroka, who was third 4 years ago in the slalom race. Now has to be sure of these final turns as she looks to put the pressure on the top.
Just a little bit late in these turns as well, so no extra speed made here, but maybe now she can straighten it out early as she exits the verticale.
2:15.93, she's in by 30 seconds. It's a matter of waiting and seeing now, because there are still 4 more to come.
Yeah, she knew what she had to do, looked confident right from the get-go. Snow peeling away from underneath the edge of the ski there, indicating the chemicals not really working as well as the race organizers would have hoped, but good enough grip there to put Momoka in the chase.
Han Xia from the People's Republic of China, 4th quickest after the first run, with just over a second in hand on our current leader, Muroka. And Han, the 31-year-old, in her first Paralympic Winter Games, and you can see how the gate hits the athlete in the face as they take it on.
Oh yeah, slalom skiing is a contact sport, and especially at this level, each and every one of these ladies know they have to go as close as they dare to the base of the pole, cut that line as short and as direct as they possibly can, as their skill set and their bravery will allow.
Well, bravery, unbelievable bravery, taking the hit in the face, but it's worth it from Han, because she extends the green light to 0.84.
Yeah, her factor a little bigger, a little heavier in terms of the time compared with her current leader, Muroka Momoka. Here comes the final few turns, though.
Han, 1:45.54. She's inside by 0.6, and she goes into top spots. Good work from Han Xia.
Another skier putting down what I would call a very well-measured run. She knew just how much risk she had to take. And we'll have to watch that time very closely. That could put pressure on those following her. Meantime, down in the finish area, no matter what the outcome, she's delighted with her day's efforts.
Zhang Wenjing from the People's Republic of China, third quickest after run 1, and has 1.25 seconds from that first run over our current leader Han. And good opening turns from Zhang Wenjing, who looks quick and is quick.
Yeah, she's almost a mirror image of her teammate, but just going a little bit straighter and a little bit quicker from edge to edge through these gates. That's where she's gaining the time, the quick release of the edge, and spending a moment longer pointing as straight down the hill as she dares to make speed. Real good risk-taking stuff, but good technical execution also.
And the green light now up to 3.3 seconds. Super skiing from Zhang Wenjing as she comes to this finishing pitch.
Knows this hill, knows that she has to set up here for the verticale, does it more or less millimeter perfect.
1:44.94, yes, that's an excellent ski from Zhang. She doesn't even have to look at the scoreboard to know that was quick. She lifted her arms up as soon as she crossed the line because she felt it was quick, and it was quick.
Great slow-mo pictures showing just exactly how precise she was on those closing turns with her direction. Higher up, making certain that she has the arc shape, the turn shape to get her safely around those earlier gates.
Last words of encouragement for Liu Sitong from the People's Republic of China. Liu Sitong from the People's Republic of China, second quickest after the first run, has 1.15 seconds of an advantage over Zhang Wenjing, her teammate from that first run. And Liu, well, she was disappointed with her skiing on day 7, felt she didn't deal with the pressure of the giant slalom, and has the green light, or sees the green light cut a little further to 8/10.
Just a tiny bit late with the line here, but keeps the work rate up, keeps that ski arcing from gate to gate, straightens it up here a little, gets high again for the following turns, manages to dig herself out of the hole, as it were.
And she got bumped in that hole, and as a result, it isn't as quick, it isn't as clean, and the green light is now red.
Slightly heavy edge sets here as well. She's, again, just a little low in the line, and she's having to do a bit more work below the gate than she can afford.
Liu Sitong, it hasn't been her quickest, but is it quick enough? No, she goes into silver medal position, 1.13 off the pace. She knows she's got herself another medal because there's only one left at the top of the hill. But she wasn't as quick or as clean as her teammate.
An incredibly competitive, incredibly strong team fielded by the host nation. One or two small errors, though, on home snow, and at this level of competition, those will make the difference.
So China 1, 2, and 3 in this women's slalom sitting race, with just one remaining at the top of the hill. The defending champion from Pyeongchang, Annalena Forster of Germany, on track with a 2.61 second advantage over Zhang, our current leader. And Forster, the last racer on track in this women's slalom sitting race, and extends the lead to over 3 seconds.
Well, pure skiing skills growing the advantage for Leni Foster. The last 4 skiers all with the same factor. They're all 12-1. They all get 76.13%. So it's all down to the skiing. Forster knows she can't afford a mistake, but so far, well, I couldn't fault anything in what I've seen here.
The green light drops a little bit to 2.89 onto this finishing pitch for Forster.
Gets early, drives down the fall line. Couple of slightly heavy edges. It's going to be very close, too close to call.
Here comes the time now, 1:40.18. Forster, can she take it away from Zhang? And the answer is yes, she can, by 2.32 seconds. And Forster has defended her Paralympic slalom title. Great skiing from Annalena Forster of Germany as she wins the gold medal in the slalom sitting, and the first to congratulate her is Muraoka Momoka of Japan. Brilliant skiing from Forster and a deserved gold medal.
What a ski under immense pressure. You know, she had an advantage. She knew that, of course. And I have to say, using her years of experience on the Para-Alpine Tour to great advantage, Annalena Forster skis herself into a very credible gold medal at these Winter Paralympic Games.
A second gold medal for Forster, a fourth in total. 2 silvers as well. Just outdone by Muraoka, who has 3 golds and 1 silver. Confirmation then of the women's slalom sitting, the last of the women's races in the Para-Alpine schedule at the Beijing 2022 Paralympic Winter Games. Annalena Forster of Germany successfully defends her Paralympic slalom title. Zhang of the People's Republic of China, the silver, and Liu from the People's Republic of China picks up the bronze. So the recognition ceremony for the women's slalom sitting race. The last recognition ceremony for the women at the Para-Alpine skiing. And China ending on a high. The athletes picking up their medals later on day 8 in the Yanxing Paralympic Medal Plaza down the bottom of the hill.
Bronze medalist representing People's Republic of China.
Yu Zitong from the People's Republic of China, a 4th medal for her in these games.
Silver medalist representing People's Republic of China.
Silver medalist Zhang Wenjing, 2 bronze and now a silver.
Gold medalist and Paralympic champion representing Germany. Annalena Forster.
And Annalena Forster of Germany is the slalom sitting champion of Beijing 2022. She successfully defends the slalom title she won in Pyeongchang with a quite brilliant second run ski. So that brings down the curtain on the women's Para-Alpine skiing schedule at Beijing 2022. And what a 8 days of competition we have had on the Hai Tuo Mountain. And it ends with huge success for Germany in the sitting category. Well, what a way to bring the curtain down on the women's para-alpine skiing here in Beijing.
Well, yeah, indeed. Full of surprises, full of drama, but what amazing action from each and every one of the ladies out here on the para-alpine slope at the Yansing National Alpine Centre. Well-deserved medals, fought hard for, and some amazing performances right across every single one of the field's competitors. The Paralympic Winter Games come to a close for the women. One more day to go for the men. I'm sure it's going to be equally full of drama.
So the last of the gold medals decided at the Yansing National Alpine Skiing Centre. Veronika Eigner of Austria takes gold in the women's visually impaired. It is Ebba Arschow who takes gold in the women's standing, and Annalena Forster of Germany defends her title in the sitting slalom race as the Beijing 2022 women's programme comes to an end. Nope.